Welcome back to Copa America. Ladies and gentlemen, another fresh best of three coming at you. It's another ZVZ today, but there's going to be quite a few of those as there's a lot of Zergs in today's brackets. But today, oddly, we find ourselves with very few Protoss players compared to most. At any rate, focusing on the game at hand, spawning the top right corner of the map from Korean Latin gamers, or sorry, not Korean, what am I saying? Chaos Latin gamers. It is the Red Zerg player, Tunico.
The bottom left as the blue Zerg, it is Spectrum, and he is going for some cheese.
Just a little bit. It's kind of cool, actually. The second we announced this in Twitch chat, we had quite a bit of a reaction. A lot of people saying they're very excited to see Spectrum. Quite a few saying, oh, I catch all of Tunico's games. So this may end up being a much better series than anticipated. These might be two players that we don't know a lot about, but I'm very excited to see how they play. And Spectrum opening cheesy, and this is 10-pull banelings, guys, make no mistake. In the first game of the best of three, ballsy, but I like ballsy, I like gutsy.
Well, Tunico made a big mistake. He made 3 overlords.
Ooh, that's gonna sting.
That is 100 minerals away from your pool, which is already late because of the hatch.
Yes, having on hatch first on top of this doesn't get worse than this, guys. I've actually never seen anyone make that third overlord first. I personally have done it, but that's because I'm awful at Zerg, so it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I have not seen this in professional play. Not that these guys are like, you know, on like teams and team mastering like that, but it is a mistake that you just wish was not being broadcasted.
Yeah, it happens though. I mean, you've got a lot of eyes on you. You probably got some nerves for both of these players, but bombs, get out.
Yeah, bombs. I think it's too late for you, man. It's gonna become
his
really
internet
serious too.
is bombing out.
Oh, by the way, we did not make a single joke with Duck Hunt and eggs.
Oh wow, we're the worst. Well, we made the rest of
right?
development jokes, but yeah, we should have connected those names a little bit better. Too focused on calling him Druby. Jeez. Okay, so here's the goal with this attack, guys. If the banelings come out, great. The drone lines are gonna get annihilated. The problem is though, he never went for banelings. He's actually just doing 10-pull speed. So I thought this was gonna be banelings, but 10-pull speed is just weird.
Sometimes I call this and you're like, nah, I don't think so, and you're always right, so I don't bother saying it anymore. I would have been right this time.
Tunico actually holds this really nicely, by the way, losing only 1 drone at the cost of 5 lings.
Dude, bombs. You just gotta give it up, bro.
Right? Like, I kind of want to be the guy who's just like bombs out, but I'm not the player.
No one wants to be, I guess
bombs, leave. Bombs, leave.
Game paused.
Like, here's the thing, and a little bit of lag here and there is fine, but when it comes down to crazy intense micro like what we just saw with the drones, a little bit of lag can change everything. Now, for Spectrum, he can still tear down the hatchery, and if he tears down the hatchery, he can start trying to catch up as far as the game goes. Because we look at units on the field, and granted, he's at a drone deficit, but it's not by a whole lot.
What's also very important right now is that Tunico has an overload over the hatchery, the would-be hatchery of Spectrum, so he knows that this is just dedicated more lings. Now, he's also figured out, probably, that is going to be not banelings, because those would have already come out, but is going to be speed.
You know, it's really weird to consider, actually, because if that had been banelings, those drones would have gotten absolutely wrecked.
Oh, right? Yeah,
but because it was... But because it was just lings, he actually helped really nicely with the drone micro. Queen's gonna add on top of this defender's advantage, kicking it hard. Tunico might not have speed, but he's in no real danger.
Yeah, that's just the spine crawler finishing on the top it could be the worst thing he could do. His ling production isn't quite coming out yet, so the queens might die, the lings might die because they're coming out, you know, piece by piece. I don't know though. He seems that he has a lot of stuff, and he also has, you know, potential SimCity with the queens, or he loses them.
I was gonna say, I don't like that he's getting away from the ramp, but for Spectrum, I think he realizes he's a little too all in.
Spectrum had like the best situation possible, and because he got greedy with the drones.
Not even greedy with the drones. Like, I don't like the idea of having gun speed versus the drones, anyways. Like, again, like, guys, we cannot begin to stress how big of a deal that third overlord would have been had this been banelings instead. But all right, that's only game 1. Far from over, of course. Spectrum saying that lag really screwed him over. That can hurt. The next map is Frost, so I'll go host that up real quick. Where is Tunico on this list? There he is. Alright, so we're just getting the lobby set up here, guys. Give me one moment while we try and get everyone in here. Because we, of course, don't want to leave anybody out. But Tunico with a good hold. Gets a +1 next to his name as we go into this next game. The map is going to be Frost.
Someone's been disqualified? You. I see what is in the brackets.
Alright, so we're just sorting out some of the lag potential stuff here, but looks like we're about ready to go, guys, so waiting on Tunico to give the go-ahead. Tunico, say when... Oh, there you go. Alright, so game number 2 begins, and we'll see you guys here in just a moment. See you soon. Welcome back to Copa America. Oh, actually I swapped those around. They swapped colors on me, but now we're good to go. This is game number 2 in a best of 3. Tunico currently leads the series 1-0, but his opponent's spawning the top right. It is the red Zerg player Spectrum, who has made an Overlord on 9.
In the upper left, as the teal Zerg, it is Tunico.
Yeah, from Chaos Latin Gamers. Teammate of Jim Rising. Why I know that team name so well. Jim Rising, probably one of my more favorite Zerg players from the Latin community, but I gotta give Tunico props. Like, whether that was legitimately, because Spectrum had mentioned like that lag was killing him last game, and that may have been the case, but whether it was or wasn't, Tunico had some really good drone control that game. That, I mean, you're going to defend with drones against earlier pools, granted, but to do it so well is what's surprising.
So someone just told me why Tunico is such a favorite. And it seems like he was able to get top 4. No, barely miss out on top 4 actually in the South American finals in 2012.
Ah.
I mean, 2 years is quite a large amount of time.
But it's not like you really get worse in 2 years.
I don't know about you. Well, I know. I'm actually pretty good about that, but
I'm just saying, like, if he's been a competitive player, chances are all he's done is improved since then.
yeah, it's probably true, and he's probably still one of the, I would say, the other contender. You know, like pretty much there's always been 2 to 3 people that were just like they're getting through, and every single one of these qualifiers, and there's always the last 1 or 2 that just like we don't know enough about, you know, this community, these players to really call it. So I guess he's one of those contenders for 3rd or 4th.
Well, one interesting thing, guys, in all mirror matchups, you're going to see similar builds most of the time, especially in ZVZ. Even the gas counts are fairly similar. What I like about this is this comes down to a lot of practice build order, a lot of practice timing. Injects are start making some of the difference, but it's also that tech path as we're going to see the first divergence, whether someone wants to go for roaches, no one's really playing gasless, possibly banelings that forces the other person to go banelings when they had wanted to go mutalisks type thing. Frost is a fantastic map to be aggressive on, and I really enjoy seeing the Zergling baneling aggression here, but there's always that possibility that they see a little bit, they both disengage, and you kind of get that no-rush 15-minute roach scenario.
Oh, it's going to go for a lot of lings. 8 lings, usually get 2 or 4, and then, you know, they're... mostly used for trying to scout. This is trying to overwhelm your opponent in a surprise fashion, I would say. You know, he gets...
I feel this is like a minute too early, though, as far as regular timings go with the start of Ling aggression.
I don't know. It's not the Ling aggression that we see, like the 515, nothing but Lings. It's just, I hope you made only 4 Lings, and maybe I get like a free couple of drones, or maybe even your queen. But Spectrum also made 8 Lings, so...
Yeah, the queen adds way too much damage to the Zergling fights. You just can't engage near it. I would love to know the math. I'm sure someone's done it. Like, the queen's got to be worth like 5 or 6 Lings in and of itself. It's pretty ridiculous. But Baneling Nest coming down on both sides of the map, so we may get to see a little bit of that tussle, a little bit of to and fro.
And an evolution chamber for Tunico. So
if you do,
we've been seeing.
If you do Carapace, isn't this too late for? Sorry, continue.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Yeah. So pretty much what we're talking about is that there is a build, it's rare, but it is used, where you get +1 Carapace, and then your Banelings take, or your Lings take 2 Banelings instead of 1 Banelings to kill. But, you know, it's not timing up really well here. We've also been seeing, I thought what he was going to do maybe was a +1 missile attack, and not use the Banelings at all, but just go straight into a Roach attack, which is something we've also been seeing, but... okay, it's going to be Carapace.
Okay, so here's where this is not necessarily a bad thing, guys, but when you go for Carapace builds, typically you get the Evolution Chamber a little bit earlier, so that you already have it done by the time you're across the map like this. Now, the Carapace is never going to be a wasteful upgrade unless you go Mutalisks. This will actually transition to your Roaches later as well. So, again, even though this might not come into effect for this fight, having it for later on will not be a bad thing.
Yeah, and that's why I think we're seeing it at all. I think this might just be, honestly, more a defensive move. You know, he's not really planning on going out and trying to make his Lings survive more on the offense, trying to make him survive more on the defense and have that little bit of an upgrade advantage. And Spectrum... Oh,
does he not have any Banelings at home? Oh, he does. Okay, 4.
He does, yeah. He's had them. He's producing them. But Spectrum's really going for something very, very aggressive. Tunico would love to have had a Spinecrawler.
Oh my god, that's 12 Banelings on the way here for Spectrum. Now, granted... Sometimes Baneling numbers aren't the scariest things in the world. If you clump them up, if you get 2 for 3 trades, all these things, you can start evening it up pretty quickly. But as far as the start of this fight goes, Spectrum is coming in with a very overwhelming force of Banelings. Alright, he actually, Tunico gets some pretty good trades there.
Oh, it just barely misses. Oh, never mind. Those 2 Banelings. Those 2 Banelings!
Oh, but you know what? Here's the Zerglings too on top of this. More Banelings actually cocooning on top of this means they can actually take the hit. He could have canceled those and kept those Zerglings alive. Might have been a little more effective, but 30 Lings about to pop out for Tunico, and the +1 Carapace is so close to finishing, but I don't think it'll come into effect for this game. 20 seconds out.
All the Banelings, if they all exploded in those 4 Lings.
Oh my god. Oh, he's not split the main. Oh, but he wasted him on the Queen! What?
They were wasted on the Lings that popped out.
Oh my goodness, this might actually be the difference of Tunico holding versus dying.
Yeah. Suddenly, like, those Lings are, you know, really... they're heroes right now. He's only down by 4 drones.
Okay, Carapace. Carapace is also available now, too.
Yeah,
this is really important.
Well.
Okay, so one of the biggest things coming into this, guys, with the Carapace upgrade, because Lings have this weird, like, low health, low damage, low everything except for attack speed scenario, this Carapace upgrade becomes a big deal for the Ling Wars. But, again, Zamriga mentioned it before, I'll bring it up again right now. You can actually soak 1 whole Baneling hit without dying. You'll be left with 1 HP. So you have to use 2 Banelings per Zergling pack. All of a sudden, it's a lot more costly to wipe out your opponent, so to speak. But diving back in here, a little bit panicked, a little bit crazy as he takes a lot of these hits unnecessarily.
It seemed to be his plan was to just tank the hits. You know, originally he made the snap reaction of, oh no, I can't do this, and then decided to anyways. There was a lot of Lings.
Yeah,
coming in.
He only had 18 drones at that point too. Just too rough. But that'll actually give us game number 3. So the first ace match today. No complaints here. Tied up now 1-1. What is the last map for this? Habitation Station. Alright, let me go get everyone invited up here. Tunico. Spectrum. And then, of course, go update the player score here. It's 1-1. Nice. I added a lot of these dudes to Real ID so hopefully they can just join if they don't ask for the invite. Alright, so we're just waiting to get the casters in here, guys. Give us a moment. Again, we don't want to leave anyone out. Dude, so I cut up that clip of Crank's micro this morning, tweeted it at him. I think she really liked that.
Give you a smiley face.
Yeah. I felt so special. Okay, well, so we're just sitting here awkwardly in the lobby waiting for Spectrum to get ready. Once Spectrum is ready to go, we'll hop into the game. It is Habitation Station. The score is tied up 1-1 if you're just joining us here on the cast. And again, these map intros are so sick. It really makes me feel so bad about mine. Like, I was so proud of mine before, but now it's like I'm aware mine was drawn in crayon type thing, and this is like a Picasso painting. But, alright, Spectrum says he's ready. Tunico still good to go. Make sure you didn't, like, tab out or AFK or something. It did take some time. Yep. Alright, let's jump into it. See you guys in a sec. Alright, stop the intro. Everybody, stop the intro right now. We gotta remake the game. It's at I guess a bugged out lobby or something. BattleNet's not playing well into the hands of your Copa America. But the thing is, what's nice is we've actually been able to squeeze 2 different matches into the same time period here. So we had that one with Drewby, of course, and now we've led into this one. And unless this is a Swarmhost versus Swarmhost game, this should actually finish up right around time that we're ready to start round 3. So this will work out really nicely. But for now, we got the lobby back up already. We got all the casters back in here. There we go. Everyone filtering into the lobby. Oh, I just saw the thing you put up on Twitter there. If you ever want to like just grab any VODs of like a really good game you cast with me or anything, I mean, you can always do that for YouTube.
It's too much work.
What? No, it's not. You literally type in SS before YouTube and it like downloads the video and you just upload it. I'm just saying, if you want, you don't have to or anything. It's just saw Twitter while we tabbed out and waited.
You see my mayo nig?
No, but nice. Alright guys, so I think we're missing one caster. We're just waiting for them to get in here. We don't want to leave anybody out, of course. Pedroka tried to invite him manually. Because I'm level 105. Sorry for playing the game so much on all the races. How's being casual treating you level 54?
I was casual treating you, Diamond.
Whoa. This is Cards Against Humanity all over again.
Whoa. Whoa.
Okay, players ready. Oh my god! He just ace-gated! I want Spectrum to win now. Alright. Tunico say go, go, go. Alright, so once again, Habitation Station. See you guys in a sec. Welcome back to Copa America, ladies and gentlemen. The score is tied up now 1-1. It's a best of 3 if you're just tuning in, and this is one of the last matches here of round 2. Sailing into round 3 shortly after, we'll see which of these two players can make it through. Spawning here in the top left corner of the map, though, it is from Chaos Latin Gamers, the blue Zerg, Tunico.
Napier writes, as the red Zerg, it is Spectrum.
Spectrum won Rifkin's heart in the lobby. I guess he knows a little bit about base trade TVs. He ace-cated us in there, so I wouldn't be too.
Say he was a fan of us.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too. I would not be displeased if he won the series.
Yeah, because originally he was going to be really mad that he, won
Yeah,
the
before I was
series.
like, dude, I hate people who have like Spectrum in their name. It's just the worst word. No, of course not. But Habitation Station leads to some very interesting dynamics. You could play the same ZVZ that you're used to playing like we saw in that last game. Alternatively, there's the gold bases you can take a little bit earlier. Typically, we see those more fought over as the third rather than the natural in ZVZ, but this is a map that is really, really nice for Mutalisks. You don't see them a lot, but this is one of the maps you see them more frequently on.
Can you imagine trying to take the third as your natural in ZVZ? Like Lings in your third and Lings in your natural?
Like
trying to take the gold base, sorry, as your natural.
I've actually seen a lot of people do that, actually.
In ZVZ?
Yeah.
And it works? Because like defending on two fronts against like a Ling Bane attack sounds impossible.
I think the only times it wouldn't work is if there was, like really, really crazy cheese. But I think honestly it'd be more susceptible to speedlings than banelings. But I have seen it happen. Ooh, he missed. He missed. He missed. Okay, there we go. But I was gonna say no. It was not even that long ago. It was like I want to say 3 or 4 Go for StarCrafts ago. I know that I've seen Violet do it at least once. Although I think he did lose that game. But it's not something that's been entirely unheard of or uncommon, at least through the weekly cups that we've been casting outside of Copa America. But you're right, it is a risky thing to do, and that's why it's always a little bit worrisome. I think it's something you're going to get away with a lot better off if you know your opponent's play style. Like if you're playing someone you know who doesn't go for like a 10 pool, who will never do cheese, it's probably the best opening you could go for.
Suppose so.
But Spectrum in the meantime, and Tunico both retaining their own naturals as their regular naturals. So all theory crafting thrown out the window for now, but as we do see, Tunico does have that much earlier gas, or sorry, the much later gas, so we have Spectrum actually going for speed a little bit sooner. Did I say much later? Whatever. Sorry, colors up here are not matching the bars because I have to reverse them for the overlay, so it looks a little bit odd.
I don't think we've seen someone go for a gasless build yet.
I would. Yeah, gasless builds are a little hard to pull off. They are better against. I truly think they're the best against things that are going to be like, Zergling, Banelings, kind of what we have happening here. But rather than play the defensive game, goes for his own Banelingness as well. So both players pretty much playing the exact same against one another.
Lane Bane Wars are a lot more exciting.
Yeah, they're more fun to watch too. There's a lot more heart attack. What bums me out is in StarCraft 2, you see like big things like a nuke. Like, oh my god, it's gonna hit, but it's like the least exciting thing ever. Whereas Banelings, oh my god, every second's like a heart attack.
Yeah. CVZ is such a fun matchup. It was definitely my favorite when I played Zerg long ago. Days of yore. But Spectrum did not get a spine. Well, never mind. He got a spine crawler just a little bit later. So both these guys seem to be perfectly fine going to Roach Warrens.
Yeah, but also with noting, Spectrum doesn't have that little nook for the queen to hide in, so it's not going to be as present here on the front lines, whereas what Tunico's done is actually made it so there's a choke. Lings can't exactly surround the queen, as so often happens, and he's not going to get free kills.
You know, that Spire, I guess, like, the web is impenetrable. So, like, why can't a Ling just run through it? The Baneling Nest, you know?
Oh, on the bottom? Okay, I was like, what are you talking about? Webs? Spider-Man?
Yeah, it's webs. It's like webs are holding up the thing on top.
Oh my god, you're right. I always just assumed it had like a spine in the back or something.
No, and like I'm just like wondering like
That is so weird.
just like swap the webs away and suddenly it like collapses on itself.
How do Zergs work? Like, how can Hellions not burn the web down and collapse the Baneling Nest, you know?
That's a good question as well.
You're blowing my mind here. You're blowing
I'm
my mind here,
sorry.
Zamio.
Or you're welcome, I don't know.
I will. Yeah, Spectrum is actually opted to go for the full wall off here, so he's really worried about this. I think that's full off, at least, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is.
Why?
This is something you do if you already see Zerglings and Banelings marching across the map. This isn't something you typically do blindly, so I'm not sure why he's chosen to do this or what he saw that scared him so heavily, but it's the right choice because the Overlord starts getting chased away, Banelings and Zerglings coming across the map, and this wall will soak up so many hits. Now the problem is, this is something you see more commonly with Gasless, because you've got 3 queens. Spectrum's only barely have 2, and the Spinecrawler, I think it'll reach the front of the wall, but Zerglings are going to certainly try and chip away at this before having to use Banelings.
That's that corpse, bro.
Yeah, I know. I love watching Spinecrawlers like just whip things back when they kill them. It's worth noting for Tunico though, his opponent's kind of boxed himself in here, self-contained. So on the other side of the map, he takes his own third, and he could certainly use this to get ahead without having to overinvest in any more Banelings or dedicate to this wall.
Yeah, I don't like this a full wall off. I really don't. I mean, you can make it one space just to get through and put a queen in there as the cork if they are going to attack. But now you have to give up an Evo chamber, where maybe your intention was not to go for double upgrades anyways, but Tunico is, so now you're behind on that.
You know, it'd be hilarious actually if this was just simply a misplaced evolution chamber and he meant to leave one spot. And we're sitting here talking, theorizing all these other things, but really it's just like a small misclick that never got rectified. I don't think that's the case though, because he did see the Banelings coming with that Overlord. So I mean, Roach is now out, can look a little bit better for dealing with the Zerglings. He can snipe them off. 10 Roaches are quite a number to deal with. I don't know if it's enough to push with, but as we see out of Tunico, 5 Spinecrawlers, 4 Spinecrawlers, whatever the case may be. I think it's going to be 4 in total, yeah. This is enough to really thwart low amounts of Roaches. Spinecrawlers do so much damage. The problem is, oftentimes you'll see, with Galil Reconstitution kicking in here, ooh! Zerglings trying to sneak by. Good Baneling hold here with a couple of Spinecrawler hits. But even with the Spinecrawlers here, he could either just go straight to the third or try and walk past them.
Oh yeah, that third should not live. He should pull the drones right now, in fact. There's always a chance that Spectrum decides not to go for the third, tries to bust down because he thinks that he needs to right here, right now.
Ooh, caught a little bit from behind with the Roaches. Roaches, of course, don't handle these Zerglings so well, but rather than capitalize on that, he disengages.
Well, he killed a bunch of Banelings that were morphing. There was like 6 Banelings morphing on this side, now it's down to 1.
Oh, these Roaches are so clumped up. The Baneling's going to do a lot of damage, even to armored units like Roaches. So trying to back away from this. Gets a decent Baneling connect, but we do, of course, have Carapace upgrades. We didn't talk about this, but Tunico did sneak those out earlier on, so all of those Zerglings survived the hits. But you know what? The third base, I don't like that he left that. That should have been a dedicated kill. 100%.
Yeah. The least that you can do, honestly, would be to kill that third. And it was a case where he thought that he had to go right then, right now, and it just wasn't going to work out no matter when he hit.
Well, the Spinecrawlers are being repositioned. This is going to make the hold even better, even stronger. Not only will these snipe off any amount of Banelings, but again, Spinecrawlers deal so much more damage than Roaches, and they got way more health than Roaches. And the best part is they only cost minerals, not even gas.
I was following up with a follow-up. I don't want to call it an all-in because he is getting a third, and they're still on even drones relatively, but it is rather dedicated. As 4 Spinecrawlers, he's really looking to try and do something. Oh, send Lings to the main is a good idea.
Oh, that was a big Baneling hit to have to eat, though. These Roaches are all way too low to fight in this. Zerglings coming back down the ramp, but perhaps a little bit too late. Fighting within the Spinecrawlers as well. Another big mistake here out of Spectrum. Now forced to back away with an inferior Roach count. Both players have a lot of Roaches near death, but I think eating those Banelings was just the worst thing that could have happened. He had such a lead. That was like 30 Roaches versus 20. He had that in the bag. At least for the start. Reinforcements, of course, factor in afterwards. But I mean, those Bailey hits.
Well, that was dedication that didn't really turn out so well, but it wasn't completely bad anyways. Like, I didn't want to call an all-in because it wasn't. It was like do or die, but it was like the counterattack. If he had lost all of his roaches rather than get away with any, might have been too powerful. But he got away with some. The supplies are still even. The drones are still really even. And now the third, while it was a little bit later, really, I mean, he lost production on that, which with roaches aren't that larva heavy anyways, so production shouldn't really matter.
Well, as we review upgrades at the moment, there is a distinct advantage here on the weapon side for Spectrum, but that's about to close out the gap in a moment's time. In fact, upgrades will probably normalize by the time of the next attack, but the Hydras are something I like seeing evolve with this. Once upon a time, you almost never wanted to go Hydraless because a maxed out Roach army would just bully through too easily and kill the Hydras. But Hydras have a lot more DPS now, and we see them a lot less frequently than just Max Roach versus Max Roach, specifically because of how expensive they are and how weak they can be, but the damage they bring to the table is something you cannot neglect. And the nice thing too is they don't have crazy overkill like roaches do. Ooh, if he had the foresight to knock down those rocks, that would have been a nice way to close off the back. But coming in from the ramp side, Tunico's going to take a nice engagement as he will catch this from behind. He catches a lot of the Hydralis away from the roaches. It's not looking so good for Spectrum. Down in supply, he'll clean up the roaches towards the south, but it's one of those at what cost moments because he's got the concave at the top of the ramp. He's actually pinstring with his reinforcements, and Spectrum, well, he's bleeding out. Defender's advantage. I don't know if this will be enough.
It just might be. For a minute there, Tunico had like a 20 supply lead, but it quickly went to roughly even.
But it's, you know, it's 2-2 versus 2-0 as well for Tunico.
Yeah, that's where he's losing out in the long game. He holds his attack off, which looked not exactly impossible, but looked really, really difficult. I'm not sure if Tunico going up that ramp was necessarily the best decision.
I like that he caught the Hydras. Perhaps catching those and disengaging would have been a better way to handle it, but I mean, yeah, you know, both players are in similar worker count, both players on 3 bases. The difference is Tunico forced to disengage. Both players have similar roach counts, and there are no Hydra advantages here for Spectrum at the moment, so a very odd equalization force. That looked like that could have been so much worse. Like, I mean, even sniping off the Roach Warren, I mean, I thought that was going to go down for sure in that fight. That would have cut out all reinforcements from Spectrum. You know, if you want to strip Defender's advantage from someone, make it so they can't build the one unit they need to deal with you.
Yeah, you didn't really get a lot from going up that ramp except those Hydralis, so that was a little, you know, yeah. But the problem is that consistently, Tunico has at a bank where Spectrum hasn't, so we're seeing that right now, and the fact that he's always able to remax with about 30 more supply, and eventually he will be able to power through.
Well, 2-0, or 2-2 versus 2-1 now, still with an upgrade advantage here for Tunico. Unit counting stations that we need to keep an eye on, and while the roach count's really high, let's not forget he's coming across the map, being flanked from 2 different angles at the same time. This is the ultimate surround out of Spectrum, but will it be enough? Because he doesn't have the numbers.
Tunico walked into a sandwich, which is what you usually want to do. But unfortunately, he doesn't have the upgrades, and he doesn't have the numbers. And he doesn't have the tech anymore either, because all the Hydralis died.
No, Tunico's slowly taking that advantage in this fight, but as the roaches start bleeding out, the numbers start disappearing. Spectrum has nothing left to fight with, and he might lose the Roach Warren. He does lose the Roach Warren. Now there's no way to build anything else. GG, well played. Tunico will advance to the brackets.